Assalamualaikum and hi. Today we are going to present the comparison of two countries based on Hofstede's cultural value dimensions. The country that we have selected are Japan and the United States. Hofstede's cultural dimensions provide a framework for comparing the cultural values influencing behavior in different countries. The objective of this cultural dimension are to analyze and compare the two countries that we have chosen, which is Japan and the US, based on the Hofstede's 6 dimensions.
Power distance. Definition of power distance refers to the degree to which less powerful members of a society exert unequal power distribution. For example, Japan and US. Japan moderate to high ED, reflecting a structured hierarchy where authority is respected. For example, traditional respect for seniority in companies, while US low power distance promoting egalitarianism and decentralized power. For example, open communication and direct interaction with higher ups. For example, in Japan, decision-making often follows strict hierarchical lines, while in the US, employees often participate in the division. Individualism versus collectivism, which is the definition is measures the preference for individual achievements versus collective goals. For example, Japan, moderately collectivist and emphasizing group harmony and teamwork. For example, the culture on consensus building in business. However, in US, highly individualistic, valuing personal freedom and individual achievement, which is emphasized on self-reliance and personal career growth. For example, in Japan, group success is prioritized, while in the US, individual recognition and personal accomplishments are selected.
The next point that I will be talking about is masculinity versus femininity, MAS. The definition is, it represents the distribution of traditional gender roles and the focus on competition versus cooperation. So in Japan, for instance, we can tell that it has high MAS, showing a competitive, achievement-driven society. Example, strong work ethic and emphasize on success. While in the US, it also has a high in MAS, but with a slightly more balanced approach, promoting both competition and work-life balance. For example, ambition in the workplace with attention for family life. And also, in both countries, success is important, but Japan places more pressure on long working hours and intense dedication. Moving on to uncertainty avoidance, or UA, the definition is, it is the extent to which a society tolerates uncertainty and ambiguity. So for instance, in Japan, it has very high UA, preferring detailed plans, structured processes, and risk avoidance, for example, through businesses planning and meticulous attention to detail. While in the US, it has moderate UA, more flexible and willing to take risks. For example, the culture of innovation and quick adaptation to changes. So, for example, to conclude both of these, Japanese companies often have extensive procedures to reduce risk, while Americans, businesses are more likely to embrace new ideas and pivot strategies.
Okay, nextly, I would like to share about long-term versus short-term orientation. So the definition is relates to how societies maintain links with their past while dealing with present and future challenges. So in Japan, high long-term orientation emphasizing long-term planning, perseverance, and sustained effort. Example like continuous improvement in business strategies and strong educational emphasis. So that in Japan. So in US, short-term oriented, focusing on quick result and respecting established traditions. Example like prioritizing quarterly profits and immediate success. So example like we can see the example such as Japanese business invest in future growth with long-term goals, while American companies often aim for rapid achievements and adapt quick trends. Thank you. Good morning to all. So today we're gonna see about indulgence vs restraint. So the definition is about the extent to which a society allows free gratification of basic human desires related to enjoying life. So we can see in Japan. So in Japan, the low restraint categorized by a culture that regulates gratification, values, discipline, and follows social norms. Example like strong work culture with less emphasis on leisure. In US, high restraint representing a society that encourages freedom, fun, and leisure. Example like holidays, activities that can focus on personal happiness. Example, so the US culture celebrates festivals and personal freedoms, while Japan maintain a more reserved approach emphasizing duty over indulgence.
In conclusion, Japan and the US demonstrate significant cultural differences as highlighted by Hofstede's cultural dimensions. Japan, with its emphasis on hierarchy, collectivism, and long-term orientation, show a culture that values structured process, group harmony, and future planning. In contrast, the US has a bit strong individualism, low power distance, and a short-term outlook, which emphasize personal freedom, equality, and quick result. These differences impact how each country approaches work, social interaction, and decision making.